Good morning. Sometimes the classics are just so refreshing. Thank you, Reverend Patricia, for that beautiful music this morning. Welcome to the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Ruth Hall, President of the Board of Trustees and your producer for this morning. Please remember that we are recording this service. We use it on social media. We post this on YouTube and on our website. So that we can build our community. If you're uncomfortable with being recognized, you can change your name, shut off your video, it's up to you, but we really are glad that you're here this morning. Speaking of our webpage, if you haven't already checked it out, go to Sacramento or saccsl.org and check out what's going on. We have our events, we have our classes, we have all the information about our center, our in-person services, everything's right there. So check it out. It's a wonderful web page. And speaking of YouTube, thank you so much for those of you who do watch us on YouTube, especially those that are not in the Sacramento area. We appreciate that you get on and that you watch our services. And we especially thank you for your donations that help us continue to have our YouTube channel. And please subscribe, because the more subscribers we have, the more benefits we get from YouTube. So thank you again. Now we're going to have a beautiful song by Jan Garrett and J.D. Martin. I think you're going to enjoy this. This is our opening song today. And immediately after the song, we'll have our invocation by Margie Lukefield, who is our practitioner this morning. And so enjoy this opening song.
Hi, everybody. I am J.D. Martin.
And I'm Jan Garrett. And here we are in our living room again, and we're welcoming you to this song that we're going to do today, which is called This Is What I Know. You're going to hear a chorus, a choir of beautiful women's voices. That's going to be Esther Nicholson, Nikki Harris, and Brenda Marie Yeager. So you all are, of course, welcome to sing with us. And yeah, that's all we need to do. Let's just go for it. Oh, yeah. This is what I know. We are all connected. The universe reflected in each shining part. And everywhere I go, I recognize the faces, all of my relations in this one heart. All I need is already looking through these eyes, nearer than my breathing, closer than hands and feet. We are dreaming together all the gifts of heaven and earth. And so I receive all I can be. Now I let it go with such appreciation, with sheer exhilaration. Now I set it free. So it is, so be it. When I sing it, I can see it. I welcome us in, and now we begin. Amen. Gonna say amen. Say amen, amen. This is what I know. Amen. Amen. There it is. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you. So let us bring that beautiful music into this invocation, knowing that we are who we are. We are a part of the divine presence that is right here, right now. And this, we are the child, each one of us, of this beautiful presence of love, of balance and peace, harmony and joy. All that God is, we are. And as I know this for us, I bless our service today with for our music and our introductions and the poems and then especially the message. We're so grateful for everything. We're going to hear exactly what we need today. So thank you, and so it is. And now I'd like to introduce our first our readings. Yes, get overexcited. Anyway, Justice, The Art of Life by Ernest Holmes. Just as water purifies itself as it flows, so the impure stream of our mental life becomes purified by applied constructive thinking. And then Lucy Larcombe says, a drop of water, if it could write out its own history, would explain the universe to us. And of course, John Muir. When we contemplate the whole globe as one great dewdrop, striped and dotted with continents and islands, flying through space with other stars, all singing and shining together as one, the whole universe appears as an infinite storm of beauty. Wow. And now let me please give a warm welcome to our very own in-house resident, Doug VanWoerkom, our special poet. Yay!
Good morning, everyone. Poetry's hope, its gift, its obligation is to offer us through imagery and metaphor a new way of experiencing the world around us, and more importantly, the world within. Reverend Patricia loves the poet Mary Oliver, who always found her inspiration through nature, and has chosen two of her poems to begin this morning's talk. The first one is called At Blackwater Pond. At Blackwater Pond, the tossed waters have settled after a night of rain. I dip my cupped hands. I drink a long time. It tastes like stones, leaves, and fire. It falls into my cold body, waking the bones. I hear them deep inside me, whispering, oh, what is that beautiful thing that just happened? And the other one is called River. The river of my childhood that tumbled down a passage of rocks and cutwork ferns came here and there to swirl and slow down in a pool. And I saw myself, oh, clearly, as I knelt at one. Then I saw myself as if carried away, as the river moved on. Where have I gone? Since then, I have looked and looked for myself, not sure who I am, or where, or more importantly, why. It's okay. I have had a wonderful life. Still, I ponder where that other is, where I landed, what I thought, what I did, what small or even maybe meaningful deeds I might have accomplished somewhere amongst strangers, coming to them as only a river can, touching every life it meets, that endlessly kind, that enduring.
Let's just sit with that for a moment. I really love Mary Oliver's images that our lives are like a river flowing out, touching each other. No wonder she got prizes for her writing. I'm going to do a quick shout out to CSL for all the work they do behind the scenes. It's much like the wonderful volunteers that work behind the scene at our center to make sure Sunday happens and the website happens and classes happen and your treatments are looked after. There's just so much behind the scenes. But every year, for the past 4 years, there's been a group of ministers at CSL that come together to create an overarching vision and theme for the year. And the centers, those that want to, can follow that theme. And we've been doing it. And I got to say, each year the themes get better and better. And the vision gets bigger and bigger. And this year, the global theme is living everyday wonder. And I've kind of adopted this as my life theme. And I can't think of a better way to approach our world in its current condition than wonder. Sometimes the wonder is at its beauty and complexity. And sometimes it's more like, I wonder how this is going to work out. I wonder how the good is going to be revealed out of this mess. Anybody have those same feelings? How is this going to work out? Well, this month's theme is nature, and it's a wonderful follow-up to last month's theme of relationship, because we are always and have always been and always will be in relationship with nature, with our planet. We're actually going to focus some of I'm going to focus some of my attention on water, which is why those of you who were early enough were treated to a wonderful rendition of Handel's water music. I talked last month about how love is revealed in and as relationship, and there needs to be two, a subject and an object, between which love can be seen and experienced. And I believe that's why our world and we actually exist, to be the love object of God, of life, and for God and for life. And as a side note, as so many of you folks have a negative knee-jerk reaction to the word God, I'll try to pair it with an equivalent word or phrase. It sometimes makes it awkward for the ear, but I want to broaden our concept of God, and this is one way. So back to love as relationship. Take a moment to imagine you on one side and life or God on the other. And between you is this glorious ball of love. And you toss it gently back and forth. Now, life, God, is always going to toss the ball of love back to you exactly the way you toss it to life. If you're a student of science of mind, you will recognize this as an analogy of the law. You, on the other hand, at being human, have free will and choice, so you can toss it any way you want. And being human, we're still learning about love. So we're not terribly consistent in our aim. But life, God, returns always, returns love to us, mirroring how we actually aimed versus how we intended to aim, which keeps us open, flexible, and learning if we're willing. Now think of that ball of love as our planet. It's still love, but now it has the shape and the look of Earth. We've all seen at least one photo of Earth from space, such a beautiful and precious blue ball. Did you know that about 70% of the Earth is covered by water? Alan once said, "You didn't come into this world, you came out of it, like a wave from the ocean. You are not a stranger here. And we know this. All life evolved from the sea. We begin in an ocean of placental fluid. 78% of the human body is made up of water. In 1979, the Gaia hypothesis, named after the Greek goddess, proposed that the living organisms and inorganic material of our planet are part of a dynamic system that shapes the Earth's biosphere and maintains the Earth as a fit environment for life. In some Gaia theory approaches, the Earth itself is viewed as an organism with self-regulatory functions. This approach was immediately taken to heart by environmentalists for obvious reasons. It places humans within nature, not outside. It also makes it easier to see that the rivers of the Earth can be seen as the circulatory system of the planet. Not the same, but similar to the human body's circulation system. Environmentalists also like to liken the trees of the Earth as the lungs of the Earth because of the way they handle CO2. The analogies, the metaphors are so easy and are so natural because we humans have an instinctive bond with nature and the living organisms with which we share our planet. It may be that it is ingrained in our genes because we have spent most of our evolutionary history, 3 million years and 100,000 plus generations in nature before we began building cities. And so we have an inherent love of natural settings and all the life they contain. To repeat Alan Watts, we didn't come into this world, we came out of it. But do we see our connection with the Earth, with nature? Do we see it clearly and truly? So much of the spiritual journey is learning to see. And it's so hard for us to see fully and clearly when we are operating routinely and habitually from our human self and forget who we really are. We are spirit, God, divinity, born as a human being. Our spiritual self, frequently called our true self, is always present as background, waiting for the human self of us to grow up and notice what has always been there. Kind of like air and water, always present in and around us, but only noticed in its absence. As I said a couple of weeks ago, our job in life is to bring our spiritual self out of the background and to integrate it with our humanity. The goal of the spiritual journey is to become so fully integrated that we live in a non-dual, both and reality, where there is no thought of spirituality separate from humanity. We live that true self, which is a gift to the world. We are life expressing itself uniquely as us. I'm going to circle back around today's theme of nature and water, but walk with me down this pathway a little bit longer. To repeat, our spiritual journey is about seeing clearly, seeing in a non-dual, both and spirit, God as me way, and then recognizing, seeing that innate spiritual nature in all forms of life. Now, Science of Mind has a brilliant strategy, though I doubt if our founding writer, Ernest Holmes, would use that language or perspective. But nevertheless, it is a brilliant strategy to help us see clearly. Spirit, God, has always been present in our lives. But to begin with, most of us don't really see it. Some of us are taught a version of reality, a version of God by our church or religion that just does not hold up. It does not make sense. It's not a big enough vision to contain or explain life as we experience. And I'll speak for myself. I found the limitations very early in adolescence. It's almost a point of pride that I got kicked out of CCD classes because I wouldn't color within the lines of the limits of their version of God, because it just made no sense for me. God couldn't be that small. Others of us only get our family, our birth family's perspective, along with our consumer-driven, competitive, materialistic culture's version of how life works. You know, the one where the most toys wins? And that just leaves a hollowness. So Science of Mind starts with bringing attention to that spiritual background that has always been present, but it uses a different language and much larger concepts. So we can begin to see how spirit, creative mind, life, God in a new way. Then it teaches us how to use this powerful new reality. One of Holmes's favorite phrases was, "There is a power for good and you can use it." We can't really mimic his grand style of oratory because he really was an orator. You can listen to him on YouTube if you want to hear him and get that sense of him. But with a bit of philosophy and some logical thinking, along with a tool that we call treatment or affirmative prayer, we begin to teach ourselves to see and recognize God, spirit, creative mind, and to use it for our own good. We use it to improve and bring balance to our relationship with money, our relationship to our body and our physical health and vitality, to revitalize and deepen our relationships with friends and families and partners. And this is step one. Once that we really get there is a power for good, no matter what words we use to name it, that there really is a spiritual reality bigger than we are, and that it is bigger and more trustworthy than our ego or our human self alone. Then we begin to trust that whatever we call this power, it is always present to support us, to love us, and to say, yes, you can do this. Whatever it is that you are called to do, you can do it. Then we begin step two. Now, we teach all of this in our classes. You get hints of it on Sunday morning. But if you want to dive deeply in it and have it transform your life, take classes. And there'll be classes coming in September. I read that allergy season, thanks to climate change, now lasts for 10 days longer than it used to. So excuse my cough, that's my version of allergies. So in step two, we relax and let go and let that power of good that we've learned to use, we start letting it use us, to work through us as us. We accept at a deep level that we truly are a gift of God, a gift of spirit, a gift of life, and we are a totally unique expression and extension of that life. We use the power of good to release what's been called the imprisoned splendor of our own creativity and the gift of our own unique and individual perspective. There truly is no one like us, and there will never be anyone like us again. We are a singularity, just like everyone else. I am a singularity. You are an incredibly wonderful singularity. And the universe would be so much less if you did not discover the uniqueness that you are. There is a security in knowing and accepting this. And we experience a peace and a joy greater than we've known before simply by living our own life. Now, for some, this will sound like nonsense or fantastical. For others, you've already had a taste of this experience, and you know I speak the truth. Now, these two steps are not discrete particularly. We don't finish step one and then move on to step two. Life, God is so much sneakier than that. The two steps feed each other, and our mastery of each step supports the growth and skill in the other step. On our spiritual journey, not only do we integrate our true self, our spiritual self with our human self, we also lose our sense of separateness and discover that all I see is a reflection of me, which is another well-loved phrase in the New Thought world. It means that the world I see outside of me is a reflection of what I have or what I recognize inside of me. In the beginning of my journey, all I saw was my ego reflected back to me, my fears, my need for control. But as I've grown along the way, I see the reflection of a more integrated spiritual reality. And that means it includes all of you and our planet and all the life forms and systems that make up this planet. So now I've circled back to our theme. This week, we're looking at water in nature. Next week, the focus will be on the furry, the fuzzy, the slimy, the scaly, and everything else. But this week, it's water. As I stated in the beginning, we began in water, whether you consider the sea of evolution or placental fluid. We are 78% water. Did you know that as we age, that drops down to about 60%? But our brains remain at about 80% water, and they have a mineral composition comparable to what is found in the sea. We can't escape it. We live on a water-rich planet. From roaring waterfalls and crashing waves to gentle rain and billowing clouds, water pervades our planet's majestic biosphere. Our oceans, seas, lakes, and rivers provide oxygen, climate regulation, recreation, the ability to travel from one landmass to another, even provides medicine. Our planet is covered by water, and from outer space can be seen as a beautiful blue pearl. We often forget the value of this precious resource as we go about our daily lives. It is so easy to take it for granted, to not see clearly and intimately that we are not separate from the earth, from nature. Water is the earth's circulatory system as much as blood is our circulatory system. Water is essential for our physical health. And it's necessary for so many bodily functions: temperature regulation, cellular function, waste removal. Clean, pure water is vital to our survival and to the survival of all life on our planet. Did you know that one of the functions of rivers flooding, that annual spring flooding, is to literally clean out the riverbeds? Think about how dirty aquariums get, all that junk at the bottom. When we dam rivers to prevent flooding, the rivers don't get a chance to get stirred up and cleaned. And so fish habitats become more occluded and polluted. We use water, oceans and rivers daily. 2/3 of the global economy is derived from activities that use water, from irrigation for food production, fishing and fisheries, power production, and the transportation of people and goods, just some examples. Science helps us know the properties and functions of water in the natural world. Ethics helps us decide how to preserve protect, and distribute Earth's water sources. Spirituality helps us identify our core convictions about the meaning and value of water and our relationship to our world. Do we see our impact on the waters of the world? At least 10% of the world's population has no access to clean water. And these brothers and sisters of ours live with, and millions die from waterborne diseases each year. Flint, Michigan brought this home to America. We who pride ourselves on our clean public water and sewage systems. But this is so easily moved out of sight, out of our awareness, and it becomes their problem and not mine. It's so easy to forget that there is no there out there. It's all here, all now, all us. That's what no separation means. That's what unity is. That what affects some of us affects us all. In some sense, we are very fortunate in Sacramento. We have the beauty and the abundance of the American and Sacramento rivers that we play with and play in and walk by and bike by. And yet we are also in the midst of an extensive and critical doubt that is so evident in our local reservoirs. Folsom, Oroville, San Luis Rey. Most of us have seen pictures of Lake Mead. Doug and I flew over it last week, and the state of the reservoir is just painful and heart-wrenching when I think of the impact that it is and will continue to have on farmers and residents. And it's all going to trickle down, so to speak, to the rest of us. If we understand and if we clearly see the value and critical role of water, then we can't ignore the link between climate change and drought and the firestorms that are sweeping our forests here and in Western Europe. Let me link back to the two stages or strategies of signs of mind and spiritual growth. First, we recognize a power for good, call it God, call it life, call it whatever. And we can use it to bring balance and harmony and richness to our relationships, to include our relationship with nature, with Mother Earth. So my question to you this morning is, how are you using your power for good to support the earth, the environment? Don't beat yourself up for moments or patterns that have been destructive. What can you do to support balance and harmony and an abundance of clean water now? Look, and you will see hundreds of organizations and practices that you can adopt to affirm your unity with nature. It can be as simple as using a refillable container instead of individual plastic bottles for water. As simple as examining the amount of water and chemicals you are using to maintain a traditional green lawn. If you live with an HOA or play golf or have a child or grandchild that plays soccer, become active and creative in finding ways to reduce water use. To hearken back to my last talk, wake up and clean up. We have been given a world to love. So let your behavior reflect your love. Use your creativity and your power for good. Second stage thinking, remain open to life, using you for good. Cultivate openness to new ideas by reading and educating yourself, and then by meditation and prayer and contemplation. Keep your vision whole and integrated. Use both and thinking and language versus the either or language. Those people and corporations and industries that appear ignorant, blind, or uncaring of the current imbalances in our natural world, they're not our enemies. They too are us. We humans are creatures of habit and tradition, and the longer we have lived in a rut of habit, the harder it can be to change, to see when that rut is actually blocking our good. We can become so skilled at arguing for our limitations and why we can't do something new or different. Be kind when you see that in yourself and others. Trust your true self, your integrated self, to see things new and to use you to make changes and to bring balance. Life changes, systems change, one person at a time. Add up enough single people, single families, single organizations, and single companies, and the whole balance shifts. It's estimated that any system will shift when 20% of its members change. We don't need perfection. We only need 20% of us leading the change. I want to leave you with a quote from Hermann Hesse. I don't know where it's from, but it's beautiful. He says, "They both listened silently to the water, which to them was not just water, but the voice of life, the voice of becoming, the voice of perpetual becoming." Ruth, you want to put that slide out? They both listened silently to the water, which to them was not just water, but the voice of life, the voice of becoming, the voice of being, the voice of perpetual becoming. So join with me in prayer. Life is a perpetual being, a beingness, a creator creating creation, an infinite field of possibilities. And in that field, there is a creative spirit that moves in and through and as all of its creations. That's the reality. That's what's really happening behind everything that is seen and felt and known. And that is what my life is right now. There is a creative spirit that moves in, through, and as me at all times. And it moves in, through, and as you. We, individually and collectively, are the life of spirit, the life of God in this world as this world. And so I welcome this knowing. I welcome this power for good moving through me, bringing balance and harmony. And I live in such joy to bring my own unique perspective to this movement of life as me. And I know this for you. And I know this power for good enlivens your relationships with money, with abundance, with your fellow humanity, with your family, with your physical body. Every cell in my body wakes up and remembers who it truly is, that it is the movement of God, the movement of creativity, that there are no limits. There is only greater and greater good. And I accept this for my planet that there is abundance and vitality and life and joy, and that it is more than enough to know that I come out of this wholeness and that I live within this wholeness. I accept this truth. I embrace this truth. I live this truth. And with great gratitude, I place these words into the law, knowing that it changes what I see. It changes who I am into more of the true nature of reality. And again, for this, I give great thanks, and I ground it by saying, and so it is. And now our resident poet will come back and give us more Mary Oliver.
Thank you. This is entitled, Where Does the Dance Begin? Where does it end? Don't call this world adorable or useful. That's not it. It's frisky and a theater for more than fair winds. The eyelash of lightning is neither good nor evil. The struck tree burns like a pillar of gold. But the blue rain sinks straight to the white feet of the trees whose mouth open. Doesn't the wind, turning in circles, invent the dance? Haven't the flowers moved slowly across Asia, then Europe, until at last now they shine in your own yard? Don't call this world an explanation or even an education. When the Sufi poet whirled, was he looking outward to the mountains so solidly there in a white caped ring? Or was he looking to the center of everything, the seed, the egg, the idea that was also there, beautiful as a thumb curved and touching the finger tenderly, a little love ring as he whirled? Oh, jug of breath in the garden of dust.
Hang on, I'm finding my magic mute unmute button. There we go. I knew I could do it. Thank you so much, Reverend Patricia, and I was going to say Reverend Doug, and Reverend Doug, at least I revere you, for this blessing and gift and the incredible Mary Oliver poems. We are offering you an opportunity to give. And you have multiple options, as you can see. You can sign up for Amazon Smile, you can use PayPal or Square online, and you can be old-fashioned and have that sort of kinesthetic visual feeling of writing and mailing a personal check. And there is something about that that really connects with people. So however it is that you choose to give, we appreciate your generous donations that keep this center alive, thriving, and growing, that support our online presence. And we thank our YouTube audience for those donations, and that support our ability to give classes and workshops and all of the offerings that we have in addition to Sunday service. Thank you. Join with me in saying our abundance affirmation. Tap your heart a couple times and feel this. Abiding by the law of circulation and in heartfelt gratitude, I affirm that I live in a creative and abundant universe that continuously flows in, through, and out as me, expressing as the ever expanding infinite good. And so it is. We accept your prayer requests. We rejoice in your prayer requests.
in a way. Submit them online through our website at saccsl.org, and we will be praying on them for a week. And now for our latest news, we have a few announcements for you. We are meeting, as you may know, on the first, third, and fifth Sundays in person at the Citrus Heights Community Center. The location can be found on our website. We're on Zoom all Sundays, including those Sundays, and in addition, like today, on the second and fourth Sundays of the month. And the center is celebrating the marriage of our senior minister, Reverend Sharon Dunn, to Larry Alberg, which took place yesterday. The reception will occur after Sunday service on September 4th, in person at the Citrus Heights Community Center. Contact Corey for opportunities to volunteer. I'm sorry I'll be out of town and miss this. And there will be a workshop. Doesn't say who's teaching the workshop. So somebody hidden and secret is teaching a workshop on chakras on Sunday, September 18th.
It's me, it's me, it's me.
Oh, Reverend Patricia is teaching it. Okay. So that will be from 12:30 to 2:30, and how the chakras relate to you, how they build on each other, how they relate to various teachings throughout the world. There's so much going on here. So contact Reverend Patricia to find out more. We have this opportunity to give to women's empowerment. Empowered women equals healthy babies. What a great catchphrase, and how true that is. This organization supports women who are experiencing homelessness. We have given to them before, and right now we are collecting the most valuable thing that we can possibly give an organization, and that is money. Organizations know best how they need the money in any moment, and that can transfer. That can change in a second. Something can come up. And so we have been gathering funds, and we will continue to gather them, I think, into September, and then we will write them a check from SCSL. You can also donate directly on their website. Just indicate that you are part of SCSL so that this is part of this donation effort. And now join me for this affirmation of the week that is here to sustain you throughout the week. I am grateful for the waters of life that sustain me. And now for our benediction. And after the benediction, just remember that we will have our closing song, and then stay with us for fellowship. Fellowship is not recorded. In the pure presence of being, there is only this good that is the flow of life. This flow of life that represents itself in the flow of air and the flow of water. Our very beings flow with the fullness and richness of life through our connection with water, through our connection with each other, through our connection with who and what we really are. And so we take this knowing, this wholeness of being, this flow of being that is the truth of who and what we are, this rich connection. We take this into our day-to-day, we take it into our week, we take it into every situation as it blesses us and blesses those around us in ways both seen and unseen. We are blessed, and we bless others. We bless our world. We bless our planet. We are love. And in this knowing, I give thanks for answered prayer. I give thanks and release this word into the all-powerful law that says yes and makes it so right now from the beginning of time. And so it is. And now for our closing song.
Gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. no doubt about it. Won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, I won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Leave behind what's weighing me down, wash away what's holding me back. My heart is falling, face forward, feet on the ground, living in this courage I've found. The sky is calling, gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, I won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Leave behind what's weighing me down, wash away what's holding me back. My heart is falling, face forward, feet on the ground, living in this courage I've found. The sky is calling, gonna climb this mountain, I won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, I won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. One step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time.
Love you.